If you gaze long into the abyss gazes also into you. Nietzsche's words echo like prophecy. But the abyss predates philosophy. It stirs the oldest myths, breathes in tales of bottomless wells, unformed stars, and the silent corners of the soul where truth trembles in the dark. It is not merely a chasm. The abyss is an idea, a force lurking at the edge of reason, where certainty dissolves and the self stands naked before the infinite. It is a formless deep, the silence before creation, and the breath before a fall. Picture a cavern so vast its walls fade into shadow, a mirror not of glass but of darkness, reflecting not the face but the questions buried beneath it. The abyss lives close beneath the ground, within the heartbeat's pause, behind the eye's quiet stare. In ancient hymns, it was the underworld's hunger. In Vedic chants, the void before the world began. For mystics and madmen, poets and prophets, it has always been the place where meaning unravels and where revelation begins. Why does it call to us? Why do we lean towards its edge, hearts pounding? Because it is not a threat. It is a mirror, a crucible, a question. And to stand before it is to face the soul, stripped of illusion. The abyss is not just shadow or absence. It is chaos unbound, potential unshaped. Before stars lit the sky or earth took form, the abyss already was. A formless deep, vast and humming with silent power. It is not the end, but the origin. Not destruction, but a canvas where creation and ruin dance. In Genesis, the earth begins a formless void, with darkness over the face of the deep. The divine word brought order, but the abyss remained, hidden beneath the world's rhythm, a silent witness to creation's fragility. In Babylonian myth, it is Tiamat, goddess of the salt sea, her chaotic waters split by Marduk to forge the heavens and the earth. But her essence survives, wild and eternal, in every storm and wave. The abyss is both the before and after, the silence before every word, the dark after the collapse. Where forms are born, it waits. Where they fail, it returns. Empires, thoughts, even selves when they falter, they fall back into the abyss. Look to the ocean's floor, where light dies and creatures drift in forgotten currents. Or to the stars, vast, cold, and silent. The abyss is not far. It is beneath every structure, behind every certainty. The chaos that gives birth to order, and the silence that asks what lies beyond the edge of what we know. The abyss is not always cosmic, however. It lives within our lives, the quiet dread that surfaces when the world falls silent and the self can no longer hide. It is not distant, but intimate, a mirror to our fears, regrets, and fragile truths. To face it is to confront the deep architecture of our soul, where despair and revelation exist side by side. Nietzsche warned, gaze too long into the abyss, and he gazes back. It's the moment when meaning slips away, when belief, ambition, and routine fall silent. Carl Jung named this the shadow, the hidden self, where buried instincts, shame, and pain reside. To confront it is not to defeat darkness, but to descend into it. Jung taught that growth demands this journey. The shadow is terrifying, but in embracing it, the fragmented soul can be made whole. The abyss wears many faces. It is depression, a weight that dims on the world and drowns the will. It is grief, the echo of a voice now gone, carving emptiness into the heart. It is anxiety, the sense that the ground below you may vanish. These are not myths, they are personal abysses, as real and as close as breath. Yet this darkness is not only destruction, it is transformation. Within it, the mind wrestles with contradiction, the search for meaning, the fear of losing it, the need for control, and the chaos within. The artist knows the abyss, where vision burns bright, but form slips away. This inner abyss is not the enemy, it is a teacher. It strips illusion from the ego and exposes the soul to its raw truth. And in that darkness, something new stirs. Not escape, but emergence. Not comfort, but clarity. To survive the psychological abysses, it is not to be unchanged, but to be remade, piece by piece, into something truer. The abyss is not just a place of fear, it is a crucible. To descend into it is to risk being unmade. But in that descent lies the soul's rebirth. Across time and myth, the abyss marks a sacred threshold, the space where self dies and becomes something new. In Dante's Inferno, hell is not only punishment, it's a journey through the soul's shadow. Each circle reveals human frailty, and only by moving through the abyss of suffering does Dante ascend towards the light. The lesson is clear. Transformation requires surrender, letting go of illusion, and walking through the darkness until the stars return. Myths echo this descent. The phoenix is reborn only through fire. The ashes are not an end, but a beginning. Christ's crucifixion is the tomb's silence before resurrection. Hope lost, then reborn. Orpheus enters the underworld to reclaim love, and Odysseus faces the dead to find wisdom. Each step in the abyss brings not defeat, but transformation. The soul doesn't conquer the darkness, it communes with it and returns changed. The abyss is a holy ground. In its silence, falsehood falls away. Pride burns off. What remains is the core, the self, raw and unguarded. From this place, something new emerges. Not comfort, but strength. Not certainty, but clarity. The abyss reshapes the soul, melting it down to its essentials and forging it anew. Think of the lotus, rooted in mud, rising through darkness to bloom in light. Or the caterpillar, dissolving in its cocoon before unfolding into flight. The abyss is their forge, as it is ours. It does not promise safety, but promises becoming. The abyss does not wait, it calls. A whisper in the dark, a pulse beneath the skin. It tempts the soul toward the edge where reason thins and madness stirs. In Lovecraft's cosmos, the abyss is not empty. It teems with horrors too vast for the mind to hold. The old ones do not hate, they simply are, immense and indifferent. To seek them is to court insanity. The abyss reveals truths that the human soul was never meant to bear. This pull, the call of the void, is ancient. It stirs the silence at a cliff's edge in the fleeting thought of what lies beneath the leap. It whispers of freedom, of chaos unshackled, but to heed it is to risk all. For what the abyss takes, it seldom returns. Myths remember those who answered. Lucifer, radiant with pride, fell not by chance, but by desire, to grasp the abyss and to rule it. Icarus, drawn skyward, melted beneath ambition's sun and plunged into the sea's depths. Narcissus, entranced by his own reflection, vanished into still water. Each was tempted by beauty, by power or self, and each was claimed. In our time, the abyss wears a digital skin. The endless doom scroll is a chasm that devours time. Algorithms whisper illusions, deepfakes ban reality, and social media becomes a mirror that never stops reflecting. Like Narcissus, we gaze too long and forget to look away. The abyss, as a temptation, is not evil. It is elemental. It echoes the hunger to know, to transcend, but it gives nothing freely. It unravels certainty. It strips the self from anchors. Those who fall become myths themselves, cautionary echoes in the void. And yet, the abyss still beckons. It offers the thrill of danger, the shimmer of the unknown. To face it is to dance on the knife's edge, where the soul flirts with madness and meaning. For in its depths, the abyss does not only destroy, it reveals. To gaze into the abyss is to be seen. Nietzsche's warning is no metaphor. The void watches. It strips away masks, peering to the soul's depths where pride, regret, and hidden desire dwell. Its gaze is silent, but it speaks. The abyss is a mirror of shadow, not of body, but the buried self, the conscience awakened, the ache of dreams left undone. It reflects the truth we fear to name, the choices avoided, the time lost. In the hush of the night, its stare returns, unblinking, asking the questions we avoid in the daylight. But the abyss can also unravel the mind. In Lovecraft's world, it is a force too vast to comprehend. Those who glimpsed it through stars, ruins, whispers, found their sanity unspooled. The self, when faced with its smallness, either breaks or rages, for the abyss offers no comfort. It reflects, and what it shows we are not always ready to see. Is it divine judgment then? Across myths, the abyss weighs the soul. In Egypt, the heart met Mart's feather. In Christianity, hell yawns beneath the unrepentant. Judgment may come from the gods or from the cold, observing universe. But the abyss's verdict is not always punishment. Sometimes it's just the truth, and the truth, by its nature, burns. Yet, its gaze is more than madness or judgment. It is revelation. It strips the self to its core, peeling back the illusions that keep us safe. Fears, shames, and longings, we see them all. Some turn away, others endure, and in that endurance, they are changed. So what exactly is the abyss's gaze, you may ask? It is the infinite reflected in the finite, the conscience, the chaos, the clarity. It offers no answers, only questions. But in those questions lie the spark of becoming. In its mirror, we are not destroyed, we are made. The abyss is not a tomb, it's a threshold, a crucible of silence where illusions die and the soul begins. Its darkness isn't an end, but a beginning. To stand in the void is to be stripped bare and lit anew. The abyss burns away the false, and in the ash, the true self rises. Carl Jung understood, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The abyss is that darkness. It reflects the grief, the shame, and the dreams we bury, and to face it is to shed the masks that we wear, the myths of control, and the lie of permanence. But this is not ruin, it is release. The abyss teaches in silence. It shows us resilience born not from avoidance, but endurance. A seed pressed into the dark soil cracks open and grows. So too does the soul. What feels like burial is often planting, and what we call emptiness is possibly waiting to bloom. Even in our daily lives, the abyss holds hope. Grief digs deep, but makes room for love's memory to grow. Failure shatters dreams, but clears ground for new ones. Despair isolates, but sometimes, in that quiet, a light stirs, not above the abyss, but within it. The abyss shows us what's real, fragile, and flawed, but alive. It offers no ease, only clarity, no safety, only strength. Its hope is not in the sun that chases night, but a flame that endures, a light we can carry from the depths. To know the abyss is to know yourself, and to emerge not untouched but unmasked. The abyss endures, an eternal presence woven into the fabric of existence, its shadow cast beneath the earth's slow pulse, within the soul's unspoken depths. It is the void that cradles creation, the mirror that reflects the self unmasked. To stand before it is to tremble, for the abyss is the edge where fear and divinity meet, where the human heart, fragile yet fierce, confronts the infinite. Yet, it is not the end, it is the threshold of becoming, where illusion falls away and truth begins to take root. Its presence is timeless, etched into the myths of old, the formless deep of Genesis, brooding before the light. Tiamat, the primordial sea, whose shattered body birthed the world. The underworld's shadow halls, where heroes and gods alike face their own morality. It lingers in the mind's silent corner, where despair and hope wrestle in the dark. It whispers in the modern world. in the endless scroll of digital voids, in the ache of grief, in the fleeting urge to leap into the unknown. The abyss is not distant, it is the shadow beneath every step, the question that stirs when the soul dares to look inward. And so, the question remains, what is the abyss then? Well, for starters, it is the shadow that gives light its form, the chaos that cradles order, and the silence that speaks truth. To stand at its edge is to feel the weight of existence, to see the self reflected in its depths, and to hear the call of the infinite. The abyss remains eternal and alive, its gaze a mirror, its silence a song, and in its embrace, the soul finds not an end, but a beginning, a truth unmasked, a flame kindled, and the soul remade at the shadow of eternity. Thank you for watching.